How are you today?
Pretty good.
Well, good.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wendall Anschutz. I was a newsman in Kansas City for 35 years. Lived here for 37. And you know something? In all that time, I can't remember when we weren't studying how to get a better transit system. Well, as early as 1968, I can remember dire predictions about what would happen if we didn't do something soon.
For right now, anyway, Kansas City has the bus and the car. And the need is to make one complement the other, and both to work fast, economically, and inexpensively within the metropolitan area. If they don't, Kansas City will never be what it's expected to be, nor will it be what it is now. The city as a focal point of all activity will die.
Funny thing is that before we ever started studying mass transit,
a half-century before parking lots started replacing the buildings downtown, we actually had a transit system. And not just a transit system, but one that could get you from any part of the metropolitan area to any other, picking you up and depositing you in easy walking distance of your destination or front door. Back then, just about everybody rode the streetcar.
There were more people on the street downtown then at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning than there is now at noon. Just swarming with people.
It was a streetcar that would take you anywhere you desired, and the alternative just couldn't compete. But then one day, the streetcars just disappeared. Why? Because a great visionary had a vision.
A construction plan of epic proportions. We're calling it a freeway.
Freeway? What the hell's a freeway?
8 lanes of shimmering cement running from here to Pasadena. Smooth, safe, fast. Traffic jams will be a thing of the past. I see a place where people get on and off the freeway. On and off and on, all day, all night. Soon, where Toontown once stood will be a string of gas stations, inexpensive motels, restaurants that serve rapidly prepared food, tire salons, automobile dealerships, and wonderful, wonderful billboards reaching as far as the eye can see. My God, it'll be beautiful.
Come on. Nobody's gonna drive this lousy freeway when they can take the red car for a nickel.
Oh, they'll drive. They'll have to. You see, I bought the red car so I could dismantle it.
And whoever that fellow was, he was right about most of it. The red cars and all the others were unceremoniously expunged. The freeways sprouted like vines, and along them emerged an endless string of billboards and franchises and outlet malls that gave every new town the appearance of the one you had just left.
yes, sir, that fellow was right about most of it, except for one thing.
Traffic jams were not a thing of the past. You see, as soon as the streetcar disappeared, everyone started taking the car. Rush hour was added to the American lexicon. So was gridlock, eventually even road rage. Twice a day, the radio tried unsuccessfully to navigate us around and through traffic jam after traffic jam. And every summer, road crews scurried to patch up the old freeways and build more of them to fend off the onslaught of more and more cars. Why, it was enough to make you get out and walk.
Hey! Where do you think you're going? Going home.
As a matter of fact, in some cases, walking was actually faster.
Well, it was about that time that someone came up with a bright idea that was sure to turn things around. I know, because I reported the story.
You tend to think of the transit bus as a never-changing part of the city, but it is changing these days by the addition of this new insignia, for one thing, which means it's no longer just a part of the city, but the surrounding cities as well, the entire metropolitan area. And in another, more eye-catching way, too.
Well, we thought we would give the public a new look. In other words, a new package. The bread people, they wrap their bread in a new package, and we thought possibly wrapping the bus in new colors might attract new business. Well, all the comments have been favorable. They think it's time we had a change in color.
Paint the buses. Why hadn't anyone thought of that? But alas, despite the new paint job, the problem only got worse. Ridership fell even more, and as the passengers turned away, so did the buses. At some stops, they came by so seldom now that the bus stop sign was a joke, and the riders got stranger and stranger. Meanwhile, back on the freeways, a war was brewing. The more crowded things got, the bigger cars drivers got to defend themselves. You see, by now we had become totally dependent on the automobile. We took it everywhere. And after we jammed the freeways to capacity, we jammed the side streets. And after we jammed the side streets, we found other routes. There was simply no end to the lengths we'd go to drive our cars to work. The problem was rapidly approaching critical mass. Drivers were now resorting to extreme measures to defend themselves from each other.
You little cocker!
Did I leave my blue pants at your apartment?
And the result was total chaos. Our automobiles were no longer compatible with our freeways, and our buses were no longer compatible with our automobiles.
Hey, Stella!
Well, obviously, it was time to get things under control. Time to try something major, something revolutionary, something that had never been tried before.
The Metro buses have had the same blue and white paint scheme for 30 years this year, in fact. So we decided that after all that time, it was time to update the buses and give them a more dynamic look.
Paint the buses. Again? You know, that's the sort of thing we used to do in the television business. Every time the ratings would slip, we'd give the set a fresh coat of paint. Of course, it didn't help the ratings much. You see, the problem with paint is that paint isn't the problem. The problem is that the buses don't take the people from where they are to where they want to go, that they don't run often enough or don't run fast enough to get people to work on time. So instead of painting the problem, maybe it's time we started making some smart moves.
Smart moves like establishing local links that connect to your own neighborhood and take you to bigger and faster rapid riders whose speed is enhanced by limited stops and a signal that arranges for more green light time at every intersection. Buses that run every 6 to 20 minutes in peak hours on all major corridors. And on the interstates, freeway flyers, high-speed, high-comfort buses that pick you up at park-and-ride lots or transit centers where they connect with other buses. Even a commuter rail from Johnson County and maybe even Independence to Union Station.
It's time we made the commitment to bring a really effective transportation system back to Kansas City. And we think smart moves is the answer. Oh, it may cost a little more, but isn't it better than throwing another coat of paint on the problem? Doesn't it beat the alternative?
And you know the sun's setting fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your lover, 'cause your heart's bound to die. Go on.